What is Johnson City's greatest challenge, and what should the Commission do to address it?
In the last 5 to 7 years, we have gone from conversations about net population decline to conversations about population growth. And that kind of whiplash almost experience between a downward pressure population-wise and now this upward pressure population-wise are creating a whole series of challenges and opportunities. I mean, with growth come opportunities, but if they're not handled right and if they're not handled with experience, those are opportunities that can go terribly, terribly wrong. I would say perhaps our greatest challenge today is around issues of growth and issues of affordability around issues of growth.
Right now, I think the City Commission does very well with most things from what I can tell. You don't hear too much. My main concern, and I speak for a lot of people, and it's what drove me into throwing my hat in the ring, so to speak, is the growing homelessness and some violence down there and drug use. And as a business owner, I'm in contact with other business owners who are struggling and people, that are downtown business owners, and they're struggling because people won't come down. And I myself was twice accosted, for a better word. I was not assaulted, but both times it could have gone another way. One person actually tried to get in my truck while I was driving it. So I would like to see improvement of enforcing the laws that are on the books. That is our greatest challenge, I think. As far as addressing it, it's a hard problem that no one really wants to do much about. There's a lot of talk. I've read all the talk and I've read some ideas, but no one wants to do it. The problem is it is a serious problem, and serious problems take serious solutions. Looking at Tennessee state law, we need to enforce it. We need to recruit very good police. We need to support the police. And we need to band together as a community to fight this problem, as it will only get worse. And we do not need our downtown businesses going out of business. That is really wrong. And people say to me, well, is it inhumane? Well, I get that. I have a heart. I'm a soft-hearted person. But it's also inhumane to let people who are trying to feed their families and make a living, let them go under. They're struggling and we're not helping them. It's like we're all just turning a blind eye to it, and I think we could very easily address that problem.
Johnson City's greatest challenge is facilitating and leading smart and sustainable growth that our city is able to manage while taking care of its residents and preparing for what's to come. As we put in place the proper infrastructure and water, sewer, housing, police, fire, EMS, schools, bike lanes, walkways, and parks and rec. These things are essential when it comes to infrastructure, and having these things in place for our current residents and the residents that are coming is going to be vital for our present and our future.
Well, I've already mentioned the acute housing shortage that we're having right now. 42% of renters are paying over, or considered housing distress. They are paying over a third of their income just to keep a roof over their head. 1 in 5 renters are paying over half their income to keep a roof over their head. Like I mentioned, I'd want to encourage those innovative initiatives that some other cities have taken to directly tackle that challenge instead of just trusting the private market by itself to address it. And what the City Commission can do, we can look at zoning, make sure that we're properly zoned for that development. We can make sure that we're looking for the appropriate grant money. We can make sure that our ordinances aren't unnecessarily prohibitive of smaller developments on smaller lots that would be more affordable to people trying to just get their foot in the door in the housing market. And so I want to take a fine-tooth comb and sift through all of that, make sure that we're properly zoned, make sure that we have the proper infrastructure to adopt this housing so that people can at least get into the market.
Well, we've got a couple of challenges, and homelessness is one. It's not as bad as some other places, but it's hard to get rid of that anywhere you are. There's not a solution to that, but we got to do the best that we can to help with that. And the other is our growth. We're growing fast, and we need to make sure we keep infrastructure going and we expand in going toward the future on where we want places to be.
Right now, the challenge has got to be the growth. 2021, 2022, double-digit growth, 13, 14% folks coming in. This year, it's projected to only be 3% and nearly 3% next year, but that's still positive growth. That's still 3% of 77,000 is still 2,000 some odd people coming in projected next year. That kind of growth can put challenges on the services, on your police department, on your fire department, on your water services. We've got to make sure that we continue upgrading infrastructure, that we are paying attention to how the housing is being built to enable these folks to live, that we're not forcing out the folks who are already here, the underhoused, the folks who are just making it, may be priced out of being able to live in Johnson City if we're not careful of how we expand our city. And I think that if we take care of our people that are already here, it will continue to encourage that growth naturally without having to artificially move anybody out, price anybody out of anything. The challenge is to take care of our folks as we have new folks coming in.
So right now, I think the greatest challenge is probably one of the homeless situations, and really figuring out a way to to not really create a homeless lifestyle where it becomes a homeless destination for people outside of our area. Really want to make sure our citizens, our Johnson City citizens, are taken care of and there's a place for them to go and get any help they need. But I think that there's just a bunch of uncoordinated effort to address that, and I think we really need to combine that coordinated effort to make our place and our town, just feel safe and vibrant.
One big challenge that the city is having is our budget. We are seeing property taxes go up last year. Again, this year we're looking at about a 35% increase over just 2 years. This is affecting the affordability of people being able to live in this area. We, as a city commission, need to be addressing what we spend our money on, what we invest our money on, and try to put that into things that will most benefit our people. That means we need to be investing heavily in our essential services, water, police, fire, the school system, as we are seeing connected issues such as homelessness come across the city. We need to be looking for everything that we do to be advancing the goals of trying to keep our government small, but with a small government getting a high return for our people.
I think one of the biggest challenges is the fact that we do not have affordable housing or apartments, and we're not bringing in any high-paying jobs. I have a number of friends that have moved over to Virginia. They have a basic minimum wage of $12 and sometimes $15 over there an hour. Their rents are about 35% less than they are here in Johnson City. We're losing people, and the working people are the ones that are the backbone of this city. If we lose our retail and restaurant and people that work at the hospital, any of these type of things, we're going to drown as a city. We're not going to be able to go ahead and be sustainable. You can have a very top-heavy with the wealthy, but that's the top 40, but the top 60 is struggling. I think the commission needs to be more proactive in acquiring grants and also be more proactive in spending on the people, not necessarily just amenities. We spend an awful lot of money on ball fields. Well, there's nothing wrong with ball fields, but they're only used 5 months out of the year. The rest of the year, they're not. We spend a lot of money on golf courses that are not really attended that much. That's, to me, we're spending money on fluff, but we're not spending it on the people that actually need the help and that are our backbone of our city. I think it's important that the City Commission have the will to do this, to bring in higher paying jobs, to bring in investors and consortiums. There's a number of consortiums that we could work with if we had the will to do it. And we also need to be more circumspect in our building codes and regulations and our different zoning issues. A city is supposed to be a high density, and we have an awful lot of empty buildings. We have a lot of empty lots in the city that we're doing nothing to fill in. And a city is meant to be a high density thing. We're going all the way out to Gray and putting in over 2,000 units in the next couple of years out in Gray, but that's 10 miles from downtown Johnson City. There are many buildings downtown that we need to say, okay, you live out of state and that's your building, but it needs to be effective. It needs to be an active building. It doesn't need to sit there empty year after year after year. That's not helping our community, building small businesses and things of that nature.